Not Nerd Podcast, episode 264. It works until it doesn't.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Well, great and glorious day to you, sir. It is so great to see you. I understand you were out of town for the holidays.
Yes.
So welcome back to the Portland metro area.
Quote unquote reality.
Yeah, there you go.
Quote unquote normal life. Yes, we were went and saw some in-laws up in Central Washington, and yeah, my days are all mixed up, and I don't know where we're at, but we're coming up on the end of the year, and looking forward to a new year as well. The holidays are upon us. That's what I can say.
Mm-hmm. And before we get started today, I've been putting this off for quite some time, but I wanted to give a shout out to a couple countries who are diligently listening to us. We've got some listeners in the UK. As soon as we post the show, we get those downloads from the UK. I appreciate the listeners there. Belgium. This was a newer country that started listening to us for a while. Malaysia.
Wow.
Very new. Thank you in Malaysia. And then in Spain, we've had some listeners in Spain before. And there were others, honorable mentions that we can talk about in a future episode. But those I wanted to commend the United States, the UK, Belgium, Malaysia, and Spain for being Johnny on the spot, for quickly downloading the show and giving us a listen. So we appreciate you.
Yes, that is great. It is pretty crazy to think that we're sitting here recording and people all over the world are able to access it as soon as we post it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move on to some follow-up. So I talked about Apple's new Pro RAW setting last week, and as I started using it and reading some more on it, I was thinking, well, you know what? I really need to tell people, unless you specifically know this, don't turn it on. Well, then, as I was doing some traveling and taking some photos, now, if you are a professional, there are some advantages. You can go do all kinds of amazing adjustments in there post-work. But for the average user, if you're taking an important picture, if you make it to the Grand Canyon or, taking a family portrait or something, I would still say for those important pictures, turn on Pro RAW, because I'm going to remind people of probably might be my greatest pro tip of all time is the auto enhance in the Apple Photos. When you go in, you press edit, and then there's the little magic wand or the Photos app on your computer. I will say 9 times out of 10, doing that will do amazing things to your photos. It's trying to figure out what's there, what colors to bring out, what to adjust. And so some of the Pro RAW photos that I took, I didn't go into Adobe's Lightroom or into any professional app. I just opened the Photos app and hit the auto enhance, and it really brought them to life. You can also make quite a few adjustments within the Apple Photos app, which is great to keep in mind. The iPhone takes great photos, but with an extra 20 seconds of fiddling in there with some settings, you can make them look even better. So I wanted to bring that up on the Pro RAW.
Yeah, that's a great tip. The iPhone has a wonderful camera on it, but Apple is very conservative about making the adjustments. They want to make it look as real to life as possible. And when you click that little filter button, that magic wand, it makes it more vivid. It increases the contrast. It makes it look more professional, honestly. So yeah. Great tip.
Yes, and speaking of iOS, I don't know if we've talked about this. We've talked a lot about parenting and family sharing and your woes involved with that with multiple accounts over the years.
Oh, yes.
But one of the things that has been rolled out is the option for developers, so somebody that's making an app, if it's a subscription-based app, there is now the ability to share that within a family. So let's say like the Sego Mini World game that Isla has, that we paid for a couple months of a subscription on that. If Sego decides to make that available, if we had other children, we could also share that subscription. Now, different games and different apps do things differently. If you have like Netflix, you can obviously share your account outside the iOS world. But for some of those things where you have made purchases or have subscriptions, they now have the option to turn that on. And I think that's a great feature, so you're not having to pay multiple times for the same subscription.
Yeah, they had stuff where you could purchase and download and share the family sharing apps. One of the things that was absent from that was in-app purchases. So if you're in Mario Kart and you buy a bunch of coins or whatever, your family member couldn't use those. But subscription just wasn't even in there at all. So this is a nice addition. I doubt they'll ever do in-app purchases because those are kind of a per person type of purchase.
Yes.
But subscriptions makes a lot of sense. And I'm assuming developers can opt out of this if they don't want to participate.
Yes, it's something that they have to turn on in their app. So then when you update, then you can go into your family sharing settings. And it's a good reminder too, the family sharing is really nice. You can obviously share your iCloud storage, if you're using the new Apple One bundle, and want to share that with, is it 5 or 6 family members? I forget at this point.
I think it might be 6 at this point. I'm not sure.
And I did notice on this Mac Rumors article where I was reading about it, one of the comments on there, it says, a few notes from a developer who has been eagerly looking forward to this. 1, both subscriptions and in-app purchases are supported. So he says that they are. So I don't know how that works. Like if it is coins in a game, if those are shareable, but some apps, instead of a subscription, you pay one fee, like the Mario, what was the first big Nintendo Mario one they did on the iPhone? Super Mario Run?
Yeah, Super Mario Run.
So you paid $10 just to unlock everything on that?
It was like a trial, then you pay to unlock the full game, yeah.
Yeah, so I think more like that. And it does say developers need to explicitly enable sharing for each subscription or in-app purchase. So it sounds like it gives a lot of flexibility to the developer. And the Share New subscriptions allows newly started subscriptions to automatically be shared with family members. And existing ones can also be shared.
Good.
But yeah, so it looks like they really, really built some good stuff in there, and we'll see which apps actually let us take advantage of them.
Yeah, I like this trend, and developers are probably thinking, well, why would I do this? Because I'm going to lose money, but it might make your app more appealing so that people will purchase it to begin with. So there's some give and take there.
Yes, and this next one, I just think this is hilarious to me. So Alexa is, the voice app. It's been all about voice. What was that? 2 years ago, everything is going to go to voice. We're never going to type another thing in our lives. Well, Amazon now lets you text Alexa on iOS to ask for things instead of only using your voice. So we're coming back around full circle that everything was going to be voice activated, and now the voice assistants, you can text to them. So you go into the Alexa app and you can just type things out instead of speaking them to the app.
I'm just trying to think of a use case for this.
Yeah,
Maybe
like you open up the app and then you type in turn on Christmas lights.
Someone wants this, so I'm sure.
Yeah, somebody wants it. So basically, I look at this as they're trying to steal Share away from Google, where you go to Google and search for something and type it out. You would go into the Alexa app, but I was thinking originally maybe there was a phone number that you could, they would have a system where you could just go into Apple Messages and text, but you have to go in.
So it's basically just, instead of voice activation, it's type activation. It's not really texting.
They kind of have a text looking interface, but I do not do much voice talking with Alexa conversations, so I don't see myself getting into texting her either.
Yeah.
Well, we don't spend a lot of time on the rumor mill, but the Apple Car is back in the rumor mill. This was big, again, a couple of years ago. There was a Project Titan, and they had thousands of engineers, and they had pulled them off the iPhone, so the iPhones weren't as good because they were working on building this car, and then they supposedly got rid of it, and they were scrapped that whole idea, and we were never going to see anything. Well, there's a report from Reuters this week, and there was somebody said originally, in 2021, we will see the Apple Car And it's like,
No,
that's
that was bad intel.
bad news. So they're saying possibly in 2024,
Yeah.
and that they are looking at options. Obviously, we know nothing. They maybe have some new battery technology. We'll see what actually comes. And when you're saying 2024, that could mean, years after that. You're building a car and you're not a car manufacturer. I am very intrigued to see what they think is worth getting into the car industry for. But Apple's done it before and they can do it again.
Yeah, totally.
And another rumor is that in this next year, we'll probably see a new Apple TV hardware, which we've been waiting for years. It has been way too long. But the Bloomberg article made me chuckle a bit because their headline
Did
is
it now?
Apple TV is missing the moment. And, of course, this year, because everybody's at home watching everything. And I will say, just because they didn't release new hardware, they have not missed the moment. Because I will tell you this, my TCL Roku TV, I can do AirPlay so I can stream anything from my phone. The Apple TV app is there. My parents have a TV with one of my old Roku little streaming sticks that was like $30 from 3 or 4 years ago. I was over there. We were able to stream my daughter's preschool Christmas performance on their TV. My brother-in-law, this weekend, we wanted to watch that preschool appearance one more time. And his Samsung TV, I just opened up the screen mirroring on my iPhone. The Samsung TV popped up. I pressed it. It's just very un-Apple-like. I think that's where people get confused, is that it used to be the only way you're going to have a good experience is through an Apple TV. Well, now you can do almost everything you need to do through any device. Now, the counterpoint to that is I have not met an interface that is fast as the Apple TV, and there is not an app store that is complete as the Apple TV. But other than that, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, if you don't need applications or something specific like conference room sharing or something like that to your device, you don't need the Apple TV hardware. Or let's not forget the innovative remote control that everyone loves. Sarcasm.
Yes.
If you just want to mirror your phone's content, or you want to watch Apple TV Plus content, it's all done in software.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, all these new smart devices and TVs, you just download the Apple TV Plus to watch the content, or you just hit sharing and those devices show up because they're AirPlay compatible. It's the other features of the Apple TV that you're going to need the box for. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 90% of the people don't use all those different features. Like, Nate, when's the last time you played a video game on your Apple TV?
A year, maybe.
Yeah. Or looked at a weather application, or what we do mostly is watch Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, those type of things.
Yep.
Those apps can be gotten elsewhere. You don't need to use them on the Apple TV. So I will agree with you. The experience of the Apple TV is mostly superior to anything else, but it's not necessary anymore. So I do hope that Apple releases another piece of hardware. I'm going to purchase it the second it comes out. I'm guessing they're going to maintain the high price point and the premium experience for those people who want it. And the other uses for the Apple TV, since they're in the wild, so to speak, the people who don't want the premium experience can just use the devices that they have. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Yes, and they do talk in the article about theirs is very spendy. I have used pretty much the lowest tier of all the other devices, from Amazon, Roku, and an old Google Chromecast. I let you know this week, Dave, that Google is sending me a free Chromecast because I give them so much money for YouTube TV. So they have a new one that's been very well reviewed. There are some higher end ones out there, but again, they usually get abandoned. And that's another thing with Apple. The software is constantly updated. They make improvements to it. And the rumor is that they will be using this to focus more on gaming and possibly a new remote design, which if they come out with a new one without a new remote, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't think it's going to keep me from buying it, but I won't be happy about it. I'll just continue to use my phone.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm always happy about? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Most of the time when we have tips of the week, it's about mobile devices because our analytics and the analytics of pretty much anyone else out there is focused on mobile media consumption, like movies, music, those type of things. Everyone seems to be using their mobile devices as their computers these days. But some of us still use our tried and true desktop computers. Like me, I currently have an iMac. You have a laptop. I think I'm going to upgrade to a laptop later. And so some of these tips are helpful for those of us who continue to use computers. Now, one of the things I noticed immediately when I upgraded my computer to Big Sur was the difference in the user interface. And that's one of the major differences between it and the previous Catalina is the user interface. And one thing they did that I didn't appreciate was in your little Finder window, you open it up to be able to go through and look at your different files. There's a menu bar at the top of those screens, and they've made everything smaller. They've redone the icons and crammed everything together. Now, when I am opening up one of those Finder windows, 9 times out of 10, I'm using the search bar functionality.
Yes.
And they've shrunk it to this little magnifying glass in the corner that you have to click. It expands the search bar. Then you click again to enter your text field. Then you type your search and you hit enter. It's just a couple extra clicks that I don't appreciate. And you actually came up with this tip for me, I believe. This has been available on almost every iteration of the Mac that I can think of. But if you right click the top of your menu bar, or you can go up to the menu and under the view option, you can choose customize toolbar. So right click the toolbar or go up to your menu and choose customize toolbar. It will change your user interface into a dialog box. And the little icons at the top start to wiggle, kind of like on iOS. A sheet drops down, and you can either drag the default toolbar back up to the top to make everything like it was, or you can remove buttons, you can add buttons, you could add space. And here's the tip. Towards the right-hand side, where the search bar is, there's some space between it and the rest of the icons, and then there's more space, and then some more icons, and then there's flexible space and some more icons. If you remove one or two of those spaces, it will give the menu bar enough room to widen the search bar to its normal state. So it's not compacted into the icon. There's a text field for you to click right into and search. And so I don't think a lot of people know that you can customize the user interface of your Finder windows, or most people probably don't even have the desire. But there are a couple other things you can do as well. If you don't know what those icons mean, you can switch it to the icon and text. And so they're labeled beneath what the icons do, which is very useful for people who are new to Macintosh. And if you were like, you know what, I just want the most compact interface that I can get, you can just say text only. And it just puts the words up there. And there's a ton of blank space. Yeah. So this is not one that I would use because, I still have to click that search button a couple times to make it work. And I don't like that. Icon only is the default, and you can drag and drop different icons in and out of that toolbar. It's a great tip and a great way to customize your Mac to help you work more efficiently.
So I went through there and I just took a bunch of stuff out because the only things that I use in there is the view, where you can either have the icons, the list, or the columns. Those are the three I use, and search. Like one of the options they have in there is burn, like burning a CD. Remember when we did that?
My computer doesn't even have a CD drive in it.
Yeah.
I have an external one I could plug in, but yeah, but if you have an older Mac, or if you have an external drive and you burn a lot, like our friend Todd, who does a lot of VHS ripping, maybe he's going to get into CD ripping in the next 15 or 20 years of DVDs or something like that. Then he could put the burn icon in the top where it's easily accessible.
Yes. Well, that is a great tip for the Mac users to customize that toolbar and make it more to your liking, because there was all these icons and I'm like, I'm not even sure which one that is anymore, and I don't use it, so I don't need it there.
Right.
Well, let's move on to our takes of the week. And we talk a lot about, we've talked in the past about iOS and accessibility for, either blind people or hearing impaired. So iPhones can now automatically recognize and label buttons and UI features for blind users. So they went through and took tons of popular apps and scanned to see what different user interface elements look like. And now it can do the voiceover function, which has been there for a long time, where it would read your apps if you can't see, and is an amazing tool for visually impaired people. But they have built in this new tool, and it sounds like it's really cool for just about every app. It'll automatically scan, find out where the buttons are, and then you can, with the voiceover, hear what the different buttons are to interact with apps and just about everything on your iPhone.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. I've always thought, if I had to lose some senses, I would prefer to lose my hearing over my vision, because I do use tablets and computers and all these things. But Apple's made it relatively easy for visually impaired people to still utilize their devices. And if you find an adept user who's really good at it, take some time to watch them. It's pretty incredible to see them go through this stuff, and you're hearing the Siri speaking so fast. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What is that menu button? What? You just went right past it. Go back. Oh no, I know it's 12 ones down, so I just go past it or whatever. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and one of the other things that they've done with the new iPhone 12 Pros is they have a feature called people detection. With the LiDAR, it can actually tell you if there's people in your range and how close they are, which with social distancing, that can be important. But even just to know kind of what's around you, I need to test that one out and check it out just to kind of see what it does. But once again, iOS, the accessibility stuff is just amazing, and that's not something they necessarily directly make money off of, but they feel it's very important to them.
This is kind of like one of Tim Cook's, I don't care about the bloody ROI.
Yes.
I just want the environment to be taken care of.
Yeah.
They want people who have visual and audio impairments to have the same tools and access. So good on them.
Yes. And I was not even aware that this was a thing that people were doing, but the internet is starting to turn on MLMs, multi-level marketing schemes, or companies.
Yeah.
And TikTok just became the first major platform to ban it. So they are banning MLMs and, the Cutco knives or Avon or, Scentsy. There's a billion of them out there now.
Well, what am I going to do? I just
Yeah.
purchased a bunch of Pampered Chef products from their website for my wife, and one of the local dealers got a hold of me, if I wanted to buy more. On a serious note, we do buy and use products from multi-level marketing companies.
Yeah.
So are they going to have to change their revenue stream into just a direct marketing through their internet and not through people?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And I know, like, even on my Facebook feed, you can always tell when somebody signs up for a new, and there are some very good products out there. It's just the multi-level stuff where, obviously, with social media, it can get very annoying, and it says, they've been recruiting aggressively, especially this year with unemployment numbers going up. So they're trying to, one more of these things where the internet runs wild, and then it's like, okay, maybe we need to take a look at this, especially some of the sketchier ones, that they can have some control over that.
And I can appreciate that people are out of work and need something to do, and this is a way they can do it through the pandemic by offering a stay-at-home type service. I will say, as a free marketing tip, is a marketing tip the same as a pro tip? Probably so. If you have like a Facebook account, please create a business Facebook account to peddle your wares versus just, hey, my cousin is constantly putting in links to buy the stuff. Like, that's not the way to do it. Create a separate group or a separate page for your commerce. And we just want you to be you in your normal Facebook profile.
Yes, and then don't share every post from your special group to your main page.
Yeah.
It's I could go on for about MLMs. There's actually a podcast I listened to about them for a while, but I was involved in a couple many moons ago, and I definitely do think there are some good ones. My wife did Mary Kay for a long time, not aggressively, but just because she liked the products and had friends that liked the products. So it's one of those things where, much like social media in general, we're given a tool of like multi-level marketing, and I would like to know kind of what they tell people, how to do the marketing for this stuff. It's a tool that you're given where you can possibly make money, but you don't necessarily have the skills to use that tool in the right way, and you end up losing friends in the long run. So I just thought it was fascinating. And I did see in the article, TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is based in China, where multi-level marketing was entirely illegal from 1998 to 2005.
What changed?
Currently, the key element of the MLM business model, a salesperson's ability to make commission off the sales of anybody they recruit, is still against the law there. So here you go into some cultural differences where, if you didn't know this, things are different in China than they are in the U.S. Speaking of making insane amounts of money on the internet, I found a very interesting profile on Mr. Beast, who is possibly he was the top creator on YouTube this year. Towards the end of the article, they get into the fact that he's not starting a restaurant chain, but he is selling burgers through ghost kitchens, which PDX Fast Foodie is a whole nother mind-boggling thing. Is these ghost kitchens where you don't have a restaurant storefront. There's like these contract kitchens where they will, and with all the delivery services, who cares if it comes from a restaurant or a large commercial kitchen somewhere. So he's created these burgers that these kitchens are going to sell for him. And because he has, hundreds of millions of followers. He's got more than 48 million subscribers. And last year, every video he posted eclipsed 20 million views. So pretty much about the same as the Not Nerd channel.
Yeah, I wish. And what you need to know about Mr. Beast is his primary content is he takes someone to a store, let's say Best Buy, and says, you've got 5 minutes to put whatever you want in your car, and I will pay for it up to $1 million. And people are going and trying to fit a big screen TV in their cart or whatever. I saw one where a kid was smart and he went and grabbed a whole rack of cards for Xbox eShops and stuff like that.
Oh.
And so it was all gift cards.
Wow.
And it came out to like $26,000. And so, I see the appeal that people, they want to live vicariously through these people. And then I guess he's a good guy and tries to help people with these type of purchases.
It's kind of like a viral philanthropy kind of a thing where he makes flashy things. And it's
not
crazy.
just for sensationalism, for sensationalism's purpose. It's to kind of help people out.
He said that, to make a single one of his videos, he's got like 50 employees or something like that now, and it can cost a couple $100,000, and then he's giving away, sometimes $1 million, and all these. His priciest video cost $1.2 million.
This is crazy.
So it's just fascinating. So he's the top YouTuber of the year, and it talks about how as a kid, he's 22 now or something like that.
Yeah, 22.
His goal in life was to become a YouTube star, and he sat down with his friends and said, how can we just break YouTube with the most viral stuff? And so there's a mix of giving tons of stuff away, which people love, the comedy, he's a down-to-earth guy, they'll do weird challenges in a block of ice or, all that kind of stuff. And he's the biggest YouTuber, and there's still most of our listeners probably don't even know who he is. Maybe you've come across his videos, but it is a much different world that we live in.
I don't know that I'm going to subscribe to his channel and watch it, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Yes. And it's been a while since we've had any pet tech. But you found an article talking about how pet prosthetics are getting a boost from 3D printing, which makes perfect sense and is a great use of 3D printing.
I'm sorry, did you say perfect sense?
Yes.
I have a few loves. Flying quadcopters and drones. I love that. I love playing video games. And I love 3D printing. But I don't have a 3D printer yet. This isn't something that I've convinced my wife that I need, even though I keep showing her really cool stuff. And she goes, well, that's cool. How'd they get that? And I've said, they 3D printed it. We need one of these things. But, I'm patient. I can wait. I'm not patient, by the way. But this article, there's a picture of a cute little dog with this giant kind of body flange thing.
Yes.
With this artificial leg sticking off of it. And I'm sure we've all seen the videos of the 3-legged pets that just run around and, you name your dog Tripod or whatever if it's got 3 legs. Due to 3D printing and being able to make precisely the right fitting utensil, these pets can adorn these strange devices and basically have a 4th leg that gives them all kinds of mobility that they didn't have before. So I think it's great. I'm not the biggest pet person in the world, but I like animals and I want them to not suffer. And so using our technology to do something like this, I think is really remarkable and fascinating.
Yes, I think so too. And I mean, for humans as well, but for our 4-legged friends, it's very, very cool that they can do that stuff and so easily is one of the great things with 3D printing. Well, our security and privacy stories of the week, we talked a lot about the SolarWinds breach, and I was reading, of course, there's more information coming out about it. But one of the big problems, if you'll remember, it came through an official update from SolarWinds that this malware was able to be installed. Well, a security researcher had alerted the company that anyone could access SolarWinds update server by using the password SolarWinds123.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you.
This always goes back to this.
Yes.
It goes back to your weakest link.
Yep.
And the ding-dong who made that the password is to blame. I mean, why do you would think these large companies would take the time and spend the money on having competent security, but I guess that's just not something we do.
Yeah. So just a great reminder, please use LastPass. I was working with my brother-in-law. He got it, and he's trying to get things updated because he's like, I use the same password on everything. And I said, yep, that works until it doesn't. And so please, if you do everything on your iPhone and your Mac and you use Safari, use the iCloud keychain. If you do use different browsers and different computers, use LastPass. It's just so easy now to not use the same password everywhere, and don't use a password like your business name 123.
No.
We've talked about this. SolarWinds is not listening to the Not Nerd podcast. We need to get them on that. Second story I saw, and I can't remember if this is the same thing we had mentioned before, but this is good stuff. Microsoft and McAfee headline newly formed ransomware task force. The newly found ransomware task force will work to put together a standard framework for dealing with ransomware attacks. A lot of companies are going to be involved with this. Some of the top ones, obviously Microsoft and McAfee are the headline ones. Citrix I see on the list, and a bunch of other ones I haven't heard about. But just having a standard way to deal with these ransomware attacks, because they're not going anywhere. And if there's an easier resource to use when somebody is hit by one of these, this is a great thing. So I commend them for doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I hope we can get together and form a strategy so that ransomware just disappears off the face of the earth someday.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
That's my Christmas wish.
Yes. Well, speaking of disappearing off the face of the earth, this is one you found a while ago, and we never got around to it for our bonus odd take of the week. It's a website called Forgotify, and what it does is it searches Spotify for songs that have no listens. So you can go out there and find songs that are really random.
I actually forgot that I found this a long time ago, and I did play around with it, but thanks for reminding me. This is great if you want to discover new music that nobody's heard before.
Yes.
Or if you want to help out some of these lesser known artists. For example, when I clicked on the link, Penura comes up by Kurt Steiner, and it's on his album Momente Musical N. And so it's got like 0 listens. I'm not going to play it because I have no idea what it's like, and I don't know if I could hear it anyway. But it's got this wonderful rose on the cover. It looks to be like some type of classical music or something like that. But yeah, if you're just looking for a fun time and finding some obscure music, this would be one way to do it.
Yes. Another way I will quickly mention, I think we talked about it several years ago on the podcast, is I used to make mix CDs of amazingly awkward Christmas music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had 6 or 7 volumes that I made. Well, on Christmas Eve, just in time this year, I said, you know what? I'm going to go through, find all those songs, and add them to a Spotify playlist. So I will link to it in the show notes, or if you search for Amazingly Awkward Christmas on Spotify, you'll find my playlist, and you'll see a picture of me there. But all kinds of weird and random, some you know, a lot you don't. So if you're trying to get in the Christmas spirit after Christmas, check out that playlist or subscribe, and it'll be ready to go for next year.
Yes, I'm going to check that out. I used to listen to that all the time, and for some reason, I've kind of gotten off the habit of doing so. So I'm going to look up Amazingly Awkward Christmas and see if I can find some goodies in there.
Yes, and I stopped doing it in 2010, so it's been 10 years. So I am trying as well to add some newer ones, because there has definitely been some new Awkward Christmas released in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I need to get on making my Thanksgiving and Christmas albums. That's the trick to unlocking success, is having a great Christmas song that plays every year, and you just rake in the money. So
it is insane, because I used to spend hours and hours looking through this stuff. How many people, I mean, all the top artists, Jews, Christians, everybody makes Christmas music because it is gold.
It is a well-selling product.
Yes. Well, you know what else is usually a well-selling product? Our picks of the week.
All right, Nate. So, drum roll, please. Usually when you have children, they just disappoint you. I'm going to be honest. They do bad things. They act in ways that embarrass you. But there's a tiny slice in time where children can be amazing. And I think my children are kind of moving into this space where they're a little bit more mature as they're aging, and they both have jobs, and so they have money. So they're not sucking off of the teat here. They're finding their own way in the world. And for Christmas, and for my pick of the week, I'm going to go with Apple's AirPod Pros.
Woohoo!
That my kids joined forces and got me these rather expensive Christmas present that I was not expecting. You know, most of the things that my kids have given me in the past is usually like a drawing of something, or something they found in their room, or, you know, whatever, some $5 thing that they found at a local Walmart or whatever. But this year they decided to go
stepped
it up. So we've talked about AirPods Pro a lot in the past, and I will say they are an upgrade from standard AirPods. The transparency mode is great, so that you can have a sealed listening environment, yet still hear the outside world, so that you can hear your spouse talking and listen to your podcast or music at the same time. You can go into full noise canceling mode, where you hear nothing but the music. And the spatial audio thing everybody's talking about, I haven't figured out how to get it to work, or maybe I don't have content that qualifies for spatial audio. But hey, I've only had these things a couple days, so I'm getting there. But I used them. I was working out in the yard the other day and was using them, and it was great. So if you have standard AirPods, congratulations. Keep using them. Don't throw them in the trash. But I will say they will become trash momentarily, because you only get about 2 to 3 years out of those, and they just turn to dust and stop working. So I would recommend the next time it comes to buying some AirPods, you take a closer look at the AirPods Pro, because they are a significant upgrade from the original ones. But I like them both. I would not turn down original ones. They're fantastic. The Pros are just a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that's congratulations. And I bought some regular AirPods earlier this year, and I thought about the Pros, and I just didn't see a need for them. But Man, even just in that quick spiel, it's like, yeah, there are some advantages. Maybe when they release some new ones, I'll upgrade to those and not be getting the AirPods Max.
Yes. I was just going to say yes, because the AirPods Pro version 2 might be out sooner than you think.
Yes, we can only hope. Well, my pick of the week is also Christmas related, and on Christmas Eve, some kind little elf dropped a couple gifts off on my porch.
Spoiler, it was me.
Yes, spoiler, it was Elf Dave, and I had just left town, so last night when I got back into town, I decided to open these up, and they're from a company that I was aware of, but I was not aware of these products, nor that I needed them. It is a company called Small Rig, and all of their products are available on Amazon. And the products that you purchased for me, Dave, you were able to find 2 gadgets that I did not own.
Mm-hmm. And that was the task. Yes. I assigned myself the task of not purchasing anything that you already own or that was on your wish list, because a lot of stuff on your Amazon wish list is stuff that you already owned in a different product, like, an LED light. Well, you got 10 of those.
Yes.
This is just a different model or a different brand. And so, yeah, tell everyone about your gift.
Yeah, so one of them, they're both for camera and camera accessory mounting, and one of them is a very nice, very strong clamp that you could clamp down onto just about anything, and then it has a little 1/4-inch mount, which many camera accessories or lighting or sound audio accessories, and the other one is a very nice little articulating arm, and it's funny because friend of the show, Wes, and I have had a couple conversations recently about, doing video projects, or you show up to video something and, you've got to have this big rig with all these attachments and accessories and cages and all of this stuff, which these are exactly that, but they're also very useful when you need to get something at a little different angle or mount something on something. They're very well built. I looked back in my Amazon purchases. I had bought some other smaller kind of little swivel adapters from Small Rig, but they have, if you're into photography and need some more accessories in your life, I'm reminded of the Portlandia Gear Up sketch when they were going hiking and they just put on so much gear that by the time they got ready to hike, they couldn't hike anymore. They've got all kinds of just pages and pages, and I'll link to their Amazon page in the show notes where you can go through and see, for different cameras, different accessories, just about anything you're going to need to get stuff connected. If you're doing photo and video stuff, Small Rig's got it. So I am very thankful and grateful for my new accessories, and am going to go to Small Rig as one of my go-to companies when I need something like this.
Yeah, this is, I think, going to be a gateway drug for you, just to see, this is the product, and here's what I can do. And I had this vision that maybe you would clamp to the side of your desk, and then with the articulating arm or whatever, you would mount your phone so that it could be off the desk. Or if you're on a video shoot and you had a tripod, but you also wanted to film a secondary angle with your iPhone, you could have the articulating arm sticking out with the iPhone on there on your tripod so that you don't have a bunch of different things to trip over. So there's a million uses, and I didn't spend a lot of money. I just wanted to kind of whet your appetite for some of these cool products. And I also was sure to get some things that I might want to borrow sometime in the future.
Yes. Well, my wife thanks you in advance for encouraging me to spend more money on tech purchases.
You're welcome.
Yes, and speaking of tech purchases, maybe for Christmas you got an Amazon gift card and you're like, what in the world would I buy? Or you got a new computer or device. I'm still, we haven't done Christmas with my parents yet, so I'm not looking at our Amazon affiliate reports to see what I might be unwrapping. I love a good surprise. So I'm going to remind people again, go over to notnerd.com and click on Picks Store at the top. And we are adding in all of the picks of the week that we've ever done. So there's great software, great apps, great game, lots of great games from Dave, couple from me, as well as gadgets like these ones, the Small Rig, and different products that, if you go, well, I don't really need anything. I bet you if you look through that list on our Not Nerd Pick store, there might be something that you remember from episode 77 that you're like, oh yeah, I thought that sounded cool. I might go get one of those. So check that out. And next week we will get back to looking at those anonymous reports. I'm sure that they will be full. It will be another Christmas surprise to see how much shopping you guys did through our Amazon affiliate links this holiday season.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, with that, we will wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening in, telling your friends, all of our new countries, or our committed listeners around the world. Thank you very much. Now get out there and tech better. I got a bloody nose.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, boy. What in the world?
That's what happens when you go to Central Washington, where it's instantly just dries your body out like crazy.
Yep. You're like a raisin. You're having some troubles there.
On this
You
one.
need to excuse yourself. We can pause.
There we
That's
go.
the secret to time travel. Oh, you totally missed it. Oh, no. Good thing we're recording.
Yes.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. May your days be gay. Is that how it goes?